Hey everybody, this is Piper. I'm going to do a quick video on tongues, the doctrine of speaking in tongues, and I've got some notes on that and looked up some scriptures in that. I've had certain beliefs about this for a long time. I want to share some of those now on this video. I've got notes so that I can get to them really quick here, and I wrote some things down so that I won't have to take a lot of time, but I can definitely share this with you. If you remember in Genesis 11:6, these people decided to build this tower. They wanted to build a tower, I think it says, to the heavens, which is not literally up to the heavens, but they wanted to build this big tower. Were kind of honoring themselves, bragging about themselves. You know, they wanted to be really important and appear important, so they started building this tower. And in the next verse, well, the next few verses, 11:7 through 9, God says, let us go down and confound their language. God scattered them around on the earth. He gave them different languages. He said if we don't mix up their languages, they're going to know everything. They're going to start doing great things. Things that they didn't need to be doing at the time. It wasn't that time in history or in God's plan for people to know different languages until that moment. You know, then he wanted to make sure they didn't understand each other very well after that. So he mixed them up, scattered them, gave them different languages. So then you see that in 1 Corinthians 13:12, we're going to jump way over. For he that speaks in an unknown tongue speaks not unto men, but unto God. You know, nobody understands them, but yet in the Spirit he speaks mysteries. If someone's speaking in an unknown language, if he's speaking that and there's not people around that are speaking his language, they're not going to understand what he's saying. See, an unknown tongue is just another language. You know, my native tongue is English. I can't speak Dutch or Spanish. You know, some people can. I only know one language. 13:4 says, he that speaks in an unknown tongue edifies himself. If somebody's speaking in an unknown tongue or unknown language, of course he's getting edified, but it's not helping anybody around him that doesn't understand what he's talking about. You know, I'm going to go to 13:5. Tongues should have an interpreter. That's one of the main things that I want to say, is that tongues should have an interpreter. That's in the scriptures. If there's nobody to interpret, it's not going to help anybody. And if we go on down a little bit, I'm going to 13:8. This is really interesting. For if the trumpet gives an uncertain sound, who's going to prepare for battle? If you don't know what sound the trumpet's given and you don't understand it's a battle call, you're not going to prepare for battle. And the same with tongues. So that's something I found very interesting. 14:19, Paul says, I'd rather speak 5 words in a language that you could understand, to where I could help somebody, than 10,000 words in a language that you couldn't understand. An unknown tongue, like I'm going to say again, if it's not understood, it doesn't help anybody. 14:27, if any man speaks in an unknown tongue, let him have no more than 2 or 3, and let him have an interpreter. There should always be an interpreter when there's speaking in tongues going on. These churches, like the one down the road from me, that have everybody, 50, 100, 200 people all babbling, all it is gibberish. They have no interpreter. That's not helping. It's not helping. You know, these people, before I go on, I don't want to sound rude about anybody, but these people in these churches that are up there all speaking in tongues and babbling out these noises and crying and falling out and all this, and there's no interpreter. These people really are just, they're not even speaking in different languages. They're basically this, they've gotten all worked up emotionally, and they've told themselves that they're going to speak in tongues, and they just start babbling, and it's all gibberish. I feel that's what happens, and I know some nice people that are doing it. They get so caught up in these false teachings that's what happens to them. That's what they get involved in. Finally, now, when Christ returns, this is in Zephaniah 3:7. When Christ returns, God is going to give the entire world one pure language. We're going to go back to having one pure language before they were confused and separated and scattered at the Tower of Babel. And that's because during the 1,000-year reign of Christ, Christ is going to be teaching everyone. His first fruits are going to be helping teach. He needs everybody to have one pure language so that there'll be no miscommunication, no mistakes made. Everybody's going to understand the gospel and the Word of God, and all these things that the Lord teaches, those things are all going to be understood. So those are the notes that I had down, and the scriptures. There are more scriptures you can look up on tongues. I'm not going to cover them all because this is a short video. That's just kind of an introduction or an idea of where I and others that don't believe in speaking in tongues, where we get those, where we get that from. Also, I wanted to reiterate that I think there are real tongues as far as if somebody's prophesying or, something like that in their native tongue, and there's people over here that don't speak that language or they don't understand that language, as long as there's an interpreter, that's all legitimate. Somebody that can interpret that and explain to these people what's being said. If not, it doesn't really do any good. It may edify just the person that's speaking because he, knows what he's saying. But as far as the tongues with all of these people in these churches that are, or maybe you've seen them with the televangelists, different ones on TV, all of this speaking in tongues, as far as just all this babbling and half crying and all of these words being uttered that don't make any sense, that's all just being caught up. Some scholars say that it's something to do with demons speaking through you. I tend to agree with the other idea that it's just, people get all worked up emotionally and they get caught up in the moment. So if anybody has any comments, let me know. I'm going to be posting this video at least on my YouTube channel. This is going to be my first video on this YouTube channel. I've got another channel, but this will be the first video on this channel. I may post it on my Facebook page. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it yet. But any comments would be welcome, and I'm probably going to come back and make another video on another topic in just a little while. So everybody have a great day.